I visited the school, talked to more people about it, and the more I learned about it, the more I feel about medicine and approach to life and so on. So it was nice, and the people were really nice here, so that always helped.
So I was initially interested in becoming a medical doctor when I was young. I knew I wanted to help people, and I knew I was interested in science and medicine. And as I went through university, the more I found out about the conventional medical system, the more I recognized that that was not the model that I would fit in. So when I learned about naturopathic medicine and the philosophies there, I was super excited. And really the idea of individualization, the idea of looking at natural therapies rather than drug therapies very much appealed to me.
You know, I never really knew much about naturopathic medicine. I did know that I always wanted to be a doctor. And that really started from a very young age. My mother and my grandmother were both nurses, and for some reason I was in hospitals just watching them work quite a bit. And so I was really inspired by medicine, really always knew that I wanted to be a doctor since I was 5. I wanted to be a pediatrician. And so I was really med school bound my whole life. I was really inspired by medicine, really always knew that that was my calling. Through university, I did, the sciences, and I did my MCAT, still thinking I'm going to medical school. My mother started seeing an ND, and told me about naturopathic medicine, and I had never heard about it, and really at the beginning was not interested, and so I came to naturopathic medicine as a skeptic. And then, a few things changed in my life at that time. I kind of all of a sudden, various experiences in my life, one, my mother seeing an ND and planting that seed in me. 2, looking at the medical system from the perspective of working in a hospital. 3, doing some research. I was a research assistant, and it all kind of started to align, and it started to prompt me to think about my life from a preventative standpoint and my impact to medicine from a preventative standpoint.
Long story. My background's in environmental engineering, and I did environmental engineering, and then I went to work for a consulting firm. The work environment wasn't as healthy as I would have liked, so at that point I started looking. And I realized while I was working there that I'd rather be outside with the plants than inside at an office doing wastewater treatment. And I also found it wasn't as environmentally friendly as I'd hoped for. And I went back to school, back to Guelph, and I took a double major in biomedical sciences and plant biology, because I knew at that point through friends about the naturopathic program, but I was looking at either naturopathy or herbalism, something like that, something involving plant medicine. And through that process as well, I also took a number of different classes. So I took a massage therapy class to see if this was what I was interested in. I read a book on TCM. I went to a weekend seminar on homeopathy, and I also did some energetic stuff. So I did therapeutic touch. And as part of that class, and my own spiritual background, I came to what I was searching for, which is kind of a life purpose for me. Learning how to heal myself, how to heal other people, society, and the environment. And for me, it's all very much rooted in nature.
I had always anticipated studying medicine or healthcare of some sort, so all the way through high school, university, that's where I was headed. And I had no direct objection to doing an MD degree, and that was fine. I was actually unaware of naturopathic medicine. I spent a year living in Japan after high school before I started university, and that was really enlightening for me in terms of knowledge about energy and spirituality and religion and things that I had never been exposed to in a pretty conventional upbringing. So I started, I guess, just having questions about what I had been taught, I suppose, in terms of health and religion and spirit and so on. And then at some point in university, the idea of naturopathic medicine came to my awareness, and I did a little bit of Google searching. I actually found a website, and it just spoke to me. So it felt like a perfect blend of my scientific interests in terms of biology and chemistry and nutrition and all of that stuff that I love doing academically, but it seemed to resonate with me a little bit more in terms of the energetic, philosophical, spiritual aspects of it. So it seemed like a really good marriage of the two.
Yeah. So my dad is a medical doctor, and we grew up in the Caribbean, and just looking at the way my dad practiced was so inspirational. My dad is conventional, yes, but he studied in Germany. Okay. And in Germany, they are a little bit more progressive in that they studied botanical medicine at school. They did acupuncture at school. They did all these kind of things. So when I looked at my dad practice, I was like, I want to be that kind of doctor. I didn't know it existed, but I knew at 7 years old I wanted to be either a doctor or a teacher, and then kind of life took me. I feel like it's always something that has called to me in one way or another, whether it was exposure through the home or just the circumstances along the way that kind of said, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing this now. And then I just, kind of things came together, and there I was.
So in my 4th year at McMaster, in my undergraduate degree, I was trying to kind of consider, well, what do I want to do for my career? And I started looking into different options in the healthcare field, but I didn't know what would really fulfill my expectations. So I actually took a career course there, and they did these series of inventories, and one of them was a personality inventory where they kind of give you the careers that were suited to your personality.
Okay.
And naturopathic doctor came up. So I started to kind of research it and get a feel for what it involved. And it made a lot of sense. So then I spoke to the naturopath on campus, and she chatted a bit about what brought her into the profession. And the more I learned about it, the more it just really seemed to align with everything that I wanted for myself. So then I just, after I'd done enough research, took a leap of faith and never looked back.
Yeah.
It was definitely when I was in university. I had probably since high school planned on going to medical school of some kind. Like, it was always my goal and dream, but there was a fair at our university where they had, medical schools had booths set up. And I remember there was a little one for CCNM.
Yeah.
And I went by and I saw it. And I wasn't sure if I was interested. I grabbed a pamphlet and just kind of took that and went home. But then I applied to medical school and didn't get in the first time and was waitlisted for another school. And so I waited that out and then realized I needed to start making plans for what I should do in the upcoming year if I didn't get in.
Yeah.
And at the time I was dating someone who lived in Toronto, so I was looking at options in Toronto. And then I thought either I'll do my master's in biomedical sciences or I'll come to CCNM and try it out. But I actually didn't pick either of those. I went to work for a naturopath downtown. I actually got the job and I worked for them for a year, and I got to see what naturopathic medicine is all about. It was a huge team of medical doctors, naturopaths, chiropractors, an osteopath, and I really got a taste of everything, and I decided that spring I was going to apply to CCNM. And then, I got here, and I think every year of being in the program I fell in love with it more.
Well, when I was initially starting to study, I was very interested in psychology and physiology and kinesiology, and I was thinking about physiotherapy and nutrition, and so, and I took courses in all of these things, and I was like, but I want to do everything, essentially. And then one of my friends who came to this program before me was like, Steph, you have to check this out, because I think it's exactly what you're looking for. So it was just sort of that magical mix of everything that I sort of was dabbling in before, and just consolidated into one program.
I have a background in kinesiology and really wanted to actually get into physiotherapy. That was sort of what I thought was for sure my path. So I worked hard to try and get in, and I did eventually get in, but in the process I was talking to a friend of mine who was already in naturopathic medicine, and she said, Zain, you should take a look at it and see what you think. So I did a bit of research and I applied for the program, and in applying for the program I got to know a lot more about the principles of naturopathic medicine, and that really drew me. It was a profession that had a really wonderfully large scope, so I could sort of include the sports medicine part of it in naturopathic medicine, which got me really excited. So I sort of decided to do that instead of physiotherapy. mostly because it was a good combination of the therapies I was already interested in and a lot of different Eastern traditions that looked at the balance between the human body and the earth in a way that wasn't really prevalent at the time.
Kind of, I found out about it and I was like, this exists? Like, that makes so much sense. I sometimes say that, to me, naturopathic medicine is the most sensible approach to medicine. It is it makes a whole lot of sense. The diet and lifestyle aspect, the letting the body take care of itself, letting the body heal itself, making room for it to heal itself in a lot of ways. That attracted me.
I always wanted to go into a health profession, but I wasn't sure which one yet. And actually a friend of mine who got into naturopathic medicine a year before me, I decided she really loved it and she had suggested it to me. So I actually precepted with a couple NDs in Kitchener-Waterloo, which is where I was living at the time. And I really liked how naturopaths try to figure out the root cause of the problem and spend time with their patients. And so that's kind of what intrigued me and attracted me to naturopathy, and also sort of like the figuring out of the puzzle of what's going on with the patient, right?